Hey, what's going on, guys? Vega here from SerpentX Tech, and today we got a little live stream for you with some special guests. First off, we're going to be going over the AION Community Bounty Program, and just to bring in some introductions here, we all know Yashnik and Crypto Mikkel, but we also have Atotoso, Joseph, and Crypto Z. Thank you everybody for joining me, and let me turn down the music, or actually turn it off. And so introductions. First off, I'm sure everybody on this channel knows Yashnik and Crypto Mikkel. So we're gonna go ahead and start off with Joseph. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself real quick?
Yeah, sure. You may know me as Atotoso on Reddit, Twitter, Telegram, but I'm a community member that's been involved with AION and the Open Application Network since September or October of 2017. I happen to be a lawyer, but I do not give legal or financial advice related to crypto. My practice has nothing to do with any of that. I've never worked as an attorney for AION, the OAN, or anything like that. But I am one of the members that's been around for a long time. Mostly, if you've interacted with me, it's been by text, and this is my official YouTube debut.
Nice.
Welcome.
Nice. That's awesome. I don't.
Glad to see your face.
Yeah. Well, we always played against each other in the AION poker tournament, which, by the way, we will have some news on that. But yeah, playing the poker tournament against you, I think if you didn't get me out once, you were the cause of me getting out. But Crypto Z, are you still with us? Silence.
I heard him.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, it's me, Crypto Z. Now also on, mostly in Discord and in the AION community. I've been participating a little bit in the poker tournament, but the next one will be a little bit more participation, hopefully. I am co-founder at AionPool.tech, and yeah.
Nice. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for joining us this evening. I just want to bring these gentlemen on to talk about the AION Community-Driven Bounty Program. I'm just going to call it the AION Bounty Program. Now, there is a hashtag right here. I've seen that hashtag a number of times, but keep an eye out for that. Obviously, CBP, Community Bounty Program. But let's read over a few things here. So AION community leaders and their foundation. Actually, let me back up here. I want to talk about what Open Application Network and AION is. How do you say OAN? Do you say it individually, or is it like a full word, like on? How do you guys say that correctly?
I say OAN. I'm sure a lot of people say it and pronounce it differently.
All right,
In French, I call it the WAN.
Okay.
It's the OAN.
That's what I always hear. Yeah,
All right, so
Yeah.
OAN obviously stands for the Open Application Network, is an open source public blockchain infrastructure secured by mining and staking. The OAN is unowned, globally accessible, and always online. AION is the digital asset that powers the Open Application Network. AION is used to pay for network use and deploy or run open apps, pay transaction fees. It rewards miners and stakers for securing the network and as a medium of exchange. AION came into my life as a miner, and that's where I primarily took part in the AION community, but then I also converted that into staking as well. Open apps are secure, transparent, and permissionless Java applications hosted and run on the OAN's blockchain infrastructure. Open apps are universally accessible across new and existing applications and platforms. So that's just a short summary. There's a lot of detail. There's actually some other videos, particularly defined by our boy Savage Mine on AION, that I would challenge you to go check out. But this bounty program is something that I want to draw more attention to and get users more involved with, which is the biggest thing about this live stream. If I can do a summary video, I will, so check back on the channel for that. But the AION community leaders and the foundation have collaborated on how to use AION Treasury to continue to grow the AION community and advance the public blockchain protocol and cryptocurrency. I'm gonna have to mute myself, my phone's ringing. Read over the next two bullet points for me, Joseph.
Sure. So currently the Treasury has around 100 million AION. A large chunk of that is currently reinforcing network security through staking. You may notice on my aion.theoan.com or at staking.theoan.com, there are several open foundation pools. Those pools do not generate rewards to anyone that may stake to them, so make sure that you're staking to a pool that is generating rewards. But nonetheless, the 60 million is bolstering the staking security of the network right now, and all rewards that are earned by those pools are being burned. So the burn rates currently, I believe, is about what, 0.8%, 2.8%, 0.8%, I think. And that can be tracked at AionLaunch.info. Beyond that, there's roughly 30 million AION that are unaccounted for, and uncommitted is perhaps a better word for it. And initially, before the Community Bounty Program came to be, there were discussions between myself, Yashnik, other community leaders in the foundation about what was going to happen with those AION that were uncommitted, and the idea for the Community Bounty Program kind of sprung out of that.
Well, I accidentally just brought up the staking aspect of it.
The current burn rate is at a 0.84% is the annual burn rate, according to the AionWatch.info. which is posted in the live chat currently. If anybody wants to check it out for yourself,
Thank you, Crypto Miko.
you're very welcome.
So,
There it is.
yeah. And I'll have to update the description as links move on. But yeah. Sorry for the interruption. So
No worries.
the network is secured by mining and staking, by mining AION or staking AION. And the biggest point that I want to drive home is there's AION, roughly 3,000 AION soft cap, that's been made available in 2021 to fund bounties for improvements to the protocol and tooling and the AION community growth and engagement efforts, right? So when we have the AION poker tournament, I want to say we're trying to entice engagement. We're trying to get users engaged, not only to have fun as a group, as a crypto mining family, but to engage in the AION community. Maintenance and support for the protocol and tooling will continue to be provided by the foundation, as with the release of swap.doan.com for AION ERC20 holders. Now, I'm going to scroll down, and Joseph, all of this is going to be linked in the description. I already have most of it. I just didn't have AION Watch in there. I want to talk about this right here. So let's go through your list, because we discuss offline what we want to talk about, and I want to go through whatever list you want. You tell me what link you want, or if you want, share your screen, and I'll move to it.
Sure. Well, we can go with your screen, and if we need to switch to my screen, that's fine. I've got all these pulled up as well. I do want to back up to
Okay.
that soft cap of 300,000. This was a number that we put out there sort of at the beginning of the bounty program. This is not a firm number by any means. If there are proposals and bids for those proposals that add up to more than 300,000 AION, that is still something that will be considered and discussed. So the 300,000 was just sort of an idea for the budget that we were going to have over the course of the year. As you mentioned, AION has, through this community bounty program, has gone towards prizes for the poker tournaments. So it's funded that. It's funded the development of AionWatch.info. So there's already AION that's gone out through the community bounty program in order to fund things to, like you mentioned, get engagement with community members, get people involved in AION, and get people talking about AION. As far as the requirements, basically there's three steps or three audiences that the community bounty program addresses. The first one is a community member that's got an idea. Someone who has an idea about a way to improve engagement, to improve the protocol, or to improve the existing tools that are out there, which include wallets, dashboards, interfaces, basically ways that you can interact with the network itself. So these proposal requirements kind of force a community member to explain what it is they're proposing. Number
Right.
one, what is the goal here? What general broad category are we trying to address? We're trying to address growing the community, getting folks in the community more engaged. Are we trying to address something at the core protocol level? For example, if there were a proposed discussion about block rewards, that would fall within that category. And then new and improved tooling. So, for example, if someone wanted to propose an improvement to the mobile wallet, right now we have Mackie mobile wallets. It works pretty good. You can stake with it, but there are probably some bells and whistles in there that can get trimmed down. So that'd be the sort of tooling that would be addressed by that third bullet point. One thing I want to emphasize is that these bounties are not going towards any closed source projects. So if you've got a great idea for a business that connects with AION, that you want to keep all that code secret and separate as your intellectual property, that is not something that's going to be funded by the Community Bounty Program. That's going to be on you to secure your own funding. And, just from a practical perspective, we as the community don't want to get into these issues where it's, are we funding this for a profit? Are we funding this? What's the community going to be left with if the person that proposed it ultimately decides I'm not making enough money on this? We really want open source tooling, open source improvements that everyone can benefit from, be funded out of the Community Bounty Program. In addition, point B, a description of what it is you're proposing. So not just what category it addresses, but what's the crux of what you're asking the Community Bounty Program to fund. Under C, it drills down on that a little more specifically. Who is it that's going to benefit from what you're proposing? Is it going to benefit miners and stakers? Is it going to benefit your average AION holder? Is it going to benefit developers who may want to connect with AION? Why is it needed? Is this just a good idea that makes sense, or are there examples that you've seen elsewhere that have shown improvements to other protocols? What results will it achieve? What are the goals? What is it that you're aiming these funds to enable? And the fourth bullet point, how can success be measured? So what are you going to be looking at? More transactions on the network, price of AION? Are you looking at number of people interacting online through Twitter, Reddit, Telegram? What metrics are we going to use to determine whether or not this money has been put to good use? And then the fourth kind of category is whether or not you're going to bid on it yourself, or whether you plan to refer someone else to bid on it. This just sort of gives us an idea of whether you yourself are planning to complete the bounty that you're proposing, or whether you have someone specific in mind that has the know-how and the skills to make the bounty happen. You can submit a proposal in this Reddit thread that you're showing right now that's linked in the YouTube description, or there is a Google form available where it's a little easier to fill out that way, just because it'll have check boxes, text boxes, so you don't have to worry about copying and pasting that format and putting it back into Reddit. Any of the proposals that come in through the Google form, I get an email notification and I repost it in the Reddit thread so that folks can upvote it or downvote it and discuss it. Someone thinks, this is a really great idea, and want to show support, that's welcome and encouraged in the Reddit thread. If you see a potential problem with the proposal and you want to hash it out with the person who proposed it, that's also welcome and encouraged in the Reddit thread. And then this way, we can kind of get a sense of what there's broad support for, or areas that may need more discussion when it comes later on in the bounty process. The next step in the bounty process is bidding. But before I move on to that, Yash, do you have anything to add?
Oh, you're right on point.
I like the fact that you're enforcing the open source aspect of it, because a lot of crypto projects usually get killed by that. And when I mean by killed, I mean literally will die out. Somebody takes over the heading, so to speak, and that means the direction in which the project is going, wants to develop something more closed source, and then they kind of hold all the keys and nobody could pick up where they left off. And I've seen a lot of projects die because of that. So the fact that you want to keep it open source is very smart, very healthy for the open application network as a whole.
Definitely. I mean, the reason that we're making these funds available is for the benefit of the community. It's really not meant to go towards an entrepreneur who's looking to maximize profits for themselves in their own business that happens to utilize AION or the Open Application Network. So this was something we felt was important to make one of the criteria for proposals. So if there's no questions or comments on that, let's talk about the bidding process. So the fact that a proposal has been made, that's great. It gets people in the community talking about it, thinking about it. But in order for these things to come to life, someone's got to bid. Someone's got to say, look, I am capable of doing this. Here's how much I think it's going to cost to make happen. And here's my resume or my CV or examples of work that I've done, so you know that I am capable of completing this bid. So there's also a Google form for bounty bidding. The real important stuff with the bounty bidding form are, one, to let us know if you were referred by someone, because that person can earn a bonus. And I'll touch on that next. And two, to include the link of the proposal that you are bidding on. The links you'll be using, you can see in the graphic at the bottom of the screen, there's a share button in Reddit that allows you to copy a link to the comments, which contains the proposal. That way we know exactly what you're bidding on. But we'll also, in the bounty bidding form, ask for how much AION you're proposing in order to complete this. Presumably that's based on an estimate for how many hours of work would be necessary, how many people on a team would be involved, and some basis for what it is you're asking for. And there's also space to provide examples of work that you've done in the past so that we can kind of vet folks who are bidding on these to a certain extent. That's not to say that we are only looking for professional project teams to complete these bids or complete these proposals. If you are trying to build your blockchain development portfolio, this is an opportunity for you as well, where you can at least point us to something that you've done in the past. But if it's high quality, if your bid is a reasonable price, we will consider that in determining whether or not to approve the bid and say, let's start working on this. So the really crucial part of the process is submitting bids, receiving bids, and then the community leaders and the foundation will get together, talk about the bid. We'll actually also set up an interview with the bidder to hash through any questions that we've got, talk about the amount, talk about any issues that we see or any concerns that they have, so that we can determine whether to approve the bid or not. Any questions on the bidding process before I talk about the bonus program?
No, but I mean, I say common sense to me, but it may not be common sense to everybody else. It's to me, just to compare it against something. If you're applying for a position, say for example, I want to apply for Oracle SQL database manager, and I have no SQL experience or nothing whatsoever that could be any experience in that field, I may not get the job, but you can always learn. And with the bounty bidding program, if you come at if you present a proposal that is not cohesive, or you don't have a game plan, so to speak, and then provide any sites of, all right, this is the work I've done in the past, and you're just like, I just want to come up with an idea but have no game plan for building what I just did, then the bid may not go through. Like, you got to have an actual cohesive game plan and thought pattern to this. Don't just bid because you want to bid. Bid, provide a proposal, make sure, like, if the form provides everything, I'm not going to click the link on the form because it shows my email, and I already did that once. So you guys can go ahead and click it. Links are in the description, but no further questions on my end.
And the parallel that I think of as far as the bidding process is the construction industry, where I do have some cases that involve construction work. Living in Chicago, there's tons of construction work that happens all the time, so it's no surprise that lawsuits happen. But when a contractor, a general contractor, has work that they need to have completed, they will open up bids to subcontractors and say, okay, what are you going to charge us to do this work that we need done? And they've got the subcontractors have to submit those bids, say, we're going to charge you this much. Here's kind of our rationale for why we're charging this much. Here's what we expect to spend on materials, labor costs, etc. And then the general contractor can look at that and say, this firm's got a good reputation. Even though they're a little more expensive, we're going to go with them. Or decide, we're trying to work within this budget that we're constrained by. This bid amount looks right based on the labor and materials that they've quoted, so we're going to go with them. That's kind of how the bidding process is going to work with the community bounty program as well. Folks are welcome to submit competitive bids. So just because one person bids on a certain proposal doesn't mean that other people can't bid on it. We're going to take a look at all the bids submitted for a proposal and kind of weigh them against each other, so that we're making that any approval decision that's made is based on what's on the table. So that's one thing I wanted to kind of highlight why we're doing bidding. We want to have it open to as many people as possible to participate, and get equal and fair consideration for what they're putting on the table as their bid.
Joseph, before you move on, I want to let you know so there's two things, and I kind of wanted to bring this up later. First off, Crypto Bedell says he's in Chicago or near Chicago also. So we got the Windy City boys out here. And then he mentioned something about, will there be NFTs on AION chain? I don't think there is now, but I mean, it is a possibility if somebody goes to try to issue a proposal, or am I wrong about that? If somebody wanted to develop and build on it, they could do it, correct?
Absolutely. That is one of the pending proposals, and we could take a look at a summary of those after we get through kind of the nuts and bolts of the program. But the Open Application Network is NFT capable. There is a unfinalized NFT standard, and one of the proposals is to finalize that. And a lot of work has already been done on that standard by William Entrican, who worked on the original Ethereum NFT standard. So he put a lot of work into drafting that for the OAN. It just never got finalized. It never got completed. There were a couple of bullet point items in the improvement proposal that just never wound up getting to the finish line. So there's work to build off of already, but this is a proposal that's out there. This is, if someone's capable and willing, they could submit a bid to finish that up.
And that's where actually open source comes into play. You said the foundation, so to speak, may be there, but it didn't completely, like, all right, we started building the house, we got the foundation laid, the walls up, everything, but the house was never completed. Let me give you an example. Z Classic, that project, I know some people would say it's basically dead. I would kind of agree, but when the team stopped developing on that, another team was able to take over and work because it was open. I believe it was open source. I'm pretty sure it was open source. I could be completely wrong, but the point being is because it's open source, there are, like, you can take over and continue on what was already built upon, so to speak.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, if someone has a suggestion for how to, and this is another pending proposal, someone wanted to create a two-way bridge between AION and Ethereum. Well, there's already been work done on that. Initially in 2018, the team built and maintained a bridge from Ethereum to AION to allow the token swap to happen, where folks could swap their ERC20 AIONs for mainnet native AION. And all the code for that is open source. That's all available. There's a third-party company that I'm not sure what their status is currently, but by the name of MavenNet, who started building a two-way bridge. So all of that code is available to be built upon. And several of these proposals, there's already work that's been done towards these goals. There's just a little bit more that needs to happen to get it to the finish line. So that's definitely something we're embracing. Even, of course, at the protocol level, the kernel is totally open source. If someone has an idea for a tweak to, how blocks are produced, what the rewards for block production are, any of that, that is something that can definitely be proposed through this process and built through this process.
Good deal.
And to incentivize that, moving on to the next point, we have a bonus program that we've come up with to get folks submitting proposals and get folks referring to developers to complete proposals. So when you submit a proposal, either through the Google form or through the Reddit thread, either your proposal is going to be identified by your Reddit username, or in the proposal form on Google, you'll put in your email address. That identifies where the proposal came from. If ultimately that proposal comes to fruition, if a developer brings it to completion after submitting a bid, getting approved for the bid, and does all the work necessary to make the proposal happen, make it a real thing, the person that submitted that initial proposal gets a bonus of 5% of the completed bounty. So for example, if the bid to complete the bounty was 100,000 AION, they would be entitled to 5,000 AION for being the one to come up with the idea and put it out there. Likewise, if you see a proposal in the Reddit thread and say, I know this guy that does work on, for example, mobile wallets, and they'd be perfect to rebuild or build a totally new mobile wallet for AION. And you send the person that link, you say, hey, check this out. Why don't you think about submitting a bid, throw my email address in there as the referrer. And then again, they bring that to completion. They submit the bid, they get approved for the bid, and they do all the work and complete the proposal. The person that referred the developer to the proposal is also entitled to a 5% bonus. So again, in that 100,000 AION bid example, they would also be entitled to 5,000 AION. So there are opportunities for folks who may not have the technical know-how to complete these bids to still get rewarded for their participation in this process. Of course, the developer that does complete the bid gets their bid amount.
Going back to your point earlier about the SQL worker, right? Well, they don't need to be the developer. I mean, they just know how that program works from that person, and they know how it feels and all that, and how it could be useful for this blockchain. And all they have to do is contact that person, and we go from there, right? So.
And I know there's a lot of developers out there that honestly are either sitting on the sideline or more like me, a little bit too busy. We got a family, going to school, doing full-time work, all that stuff. But I mean, this is something that one can do in their free time. Think of how all crypto came out to be, really. Somebody was at home, script kiddie, whatever you want to call them, and was sitting there developing and Satoshi Nakamoto, what happened with Bitcoin. It was something that sparked an idea, and then they were like, let's do this. And then he got involved with other individuals, he or she got involved with other individuals, and basically the idea came into fruition. Then they started testing, and it's going to be not the same process, but I'm just trying to say, like, it could be anyone who puts in the time and effort, and then this program is at least helping you get started. Yeah, you're going to have to put in a lot of work, but this program is out there and available. And the biggest thing about the stream and why I wanted to do it is because I don't think a lot of people know about it. We've mentioned it, we talked about it. I know most of us in the AION community has brought it up, but I don't think the mass amount of people out there, because everybody's got, I forgot what they call it, but let's just say they just want diamond hands, and they're not worried about developing on the blockchain. They're more caring about what's the next big thing that they can get into. You should be trying to develop these cryptocurrencies, especially AION, who's super important to me because they care about the miners, right? So there's some projects, DAO should not be named, that don't care about the miners and care only about their venture capitalists, investors, whatever, and stuff like that. AION cares about the community. How I know that? Well, there have been a number of events that have transpired that, kind of brought individual people together, not just miners, but stakers, just people that cryptocurrency enthusiasts. So I like to support projects that support their community, not projects that utilize their community to get to where they are at the next level and then dip set on us.
Yeah, sure.
Agreed. Yeah, and I mean that brings to mind another point. For maybe I'm using the word developer very broadly, but for folks who are looking to build out their portfolio, say you're just getting into scripting or just getting into programming, and you want an opportunity to take a project that we're not hiring employees through this process. Basically
freelancing.
Right.
Yeah.
Freelancing would be a good term to use.
Yeah. This is an opportunity to say, here's a proposal. Here's what we want completed. To a certain extent, you can take the time you need to complete it, but obviously your time's worth something to you, and we're not looking to fund someone spinning their wheels. But this is a chance for you to say, okay, in your resume or your CV, or on your website, I brought this proposal to completion, and this is how you can start building out your development or scripting or other technical skill resume, and say, I worked on this open source project, I made this happen. So we're definitely open and welcome folks that fit into that category to submit bids.
So I don't have any questions on my live stream, but I have a feeling the live stream isn't the most important part. I think this video is going to be a good resource for people to turn to, especially with all the links in the description to help people out. So now that we talked about the proposal process, the proposal requirements, the bidding process, and the bounty bonus program, is there a specific link or any page you want me to transition to?
Well, we could take a look at, you went right to it. Here's, in one of the updates that we posted in Reddit is kind of a summary of the pending proposals. And we are accepting bids on any and all of these currently. So someone had the idea that, maybe for making determinations like whether to approve a proposal in a bid, that a governance system or a voting system of some kind is something that would be beneficial. So if someone wanted to take that proposal and create a format for a DAO of some kind, that's something that has been proposed and we're accepting bids on. The second one, an all-in-one AION info and resource site or application. This kind of stems from, there seem to be different social media circles. I do a lot of the maintenance on Reddit. Reddit includes the Wiki, which has a ton of information and resources for holders, miners, stakers, developers, you name it. But it's not necessarily pretty to look at. So one proposal that's out there is to create a more comprehensive site that links all of these things, not just in text, but with videos embedded, with graphics and things of that nature, so that someone can go to one single website and have all of that at their fingertips. I mentioned this one earlier in the stream. Someone had proposed the completion of a two-way token bridge between AION and Ethereum. Another proposal that kind of connects to that is building some sort of DeFi or DEX, a decentralized exchange on the OAN, but that would require the existence of a two-way bridge so that tokens can move seamlessly between the networks. I hinted at this earlier in the stream, but a new and improved version of the mobile wallet is something that's on the table. If someone, even though there are a lot of resources and links to resources available in the Reddit wiki, there aren't a lot of good step-by-step tutorials and guides for developers. So that's another proposal that's out there. You know, someone who's willing to kind of get their hands dirty with some of the existing tools and then create a video or create a like a blog post explaining, okay, I wanted to do this. Here's how I did it. Here's how you can do it. There was a proposal for scripts to make mining and staking easier, where if someone wants to create for example, a staking pool, all they need is this script and it'll automate a lot of those processes to make it happen. Startup incubator had been proposed as well. And as I talked about earlier in the stream, finalizing the fungible token and non-fungible token standards is also on the table as a proposal. As I mentioned, with regards to that specifically, there is a standard available on AION's GitHub. It just hasn't been finalized yet. And there's just a couple of bullet points that need to be done. Some of the nomenclature and variable naming and things of that nature need to get decided. And so that's also something that folks can bid on in order to earn AION. And the folks that put these proposals out there have the potential to earn that 5% bonus. And likewise, if you're someone that just happens to know someone that has done work similar to anything listed already, you can reach out to them, say, hey, here's a link to this proposal for the AION Community Bounty Program. Why don't you submit a bid, name me as the referral, and then we can both earn some AION out of this. So there's a lot out there. We're still accepting proposals. If anyone has ideas that haven't already been listed, that's still open. But what we're really trying to push for now is bids to come in for some of these that have been proposed for some time now, and we want to get the ball rolling on some of these.
Especially in the DeFi DEX and DAO area and NFT. I mean, come on, guys! Like this sector is popping. NFTs are absolutely nuts. I'm still learning about NFTs, so don't ask me questions about it. But that arena or that sector is blowing up. DeFi space is blowing up. DEX. Yeah. Like this is a real great opportunity again to build up your resume, but at the same time, you know, help develop a blockchain or an ecosystem. I'm just going to call it an ecosystem that really supports its individual users and community members. So and so what we're looking at here are proposals that have been submitted and confirmed, right? It's just they haven't been nobody's bidded on them yet, or somebody's bidded on them, they just haven't been completed. What I'm looking at in blue. I might have that wrong.
We don't have bids on them.
Okay, so they're proposals, but nobody's bidded on it yet.
Right.
All right, so if you're the foreman at a construction site and you got a bunch of jobs that need to get done, these are various jobs that need to get done. We just need contractors to go in there and knock it out. Got it. All right. I'm putting that in construction terms so I can understand.
I just want to add too, like Joseph was saying earlier, like the NFT part of it, as an example, it's open source. It's there. It's not finalized, but you can play with it. You can grab that code and create NFTs right now, and it'll be on the Amity testnet. So you can actually, use it and see how it works with you, right?
Yeah, I mean,
you can actually play with it now.
As far as I understand it, folks have used the unfinalized fungible token standard to create their own tokens on the OAN before. I'm not aware of anyone that's created an NFT using the standard, again, that hasn't been finalized, but if you just want to experiment with it, the standard is there. You could definitely, on the testnets, on Amity testnets, or on the mainnet, deploy the smart contract for an NFT and see if it works. If you run into a bug or an issue, obviously that would identify something that also needs to be addressed in finalizing these standards. The standards are written, they just really haven't gone through finalization of some of the terminology. And I think one of the other bullet points for finalizing it is to actually deploy an example to show that the code in fact works. So, I mean, there's a lot of work that's already been done on that proposal already. It just, there are a couple more things that need to get done before it can be finalized as a network-wide standard, so to speak, before we can say, hey, we know this works, we've tested it, all the variables and the terminology and the code matches up with the other standards that we have. You can use this. You can use this to mint NFTs.
And somebody tell me if I'm wrong, but the testnet is there to test, right? So you're working on this project. You probably don't have all the little details finalized. There might be some kinks or some optimizations that need to be done to the code, but the testnet is there to actually test what work you're doing. So you don't have to have that level of fear, like, if I do this, I'm going to break XYZ. You may break it, but you're not going to break the mainnet. Right? Am I wrong in saying that?
That's totally correct, and it's also a cost thing. With the testnet, you're not putting actual live mainnet AION tokens at risk by deploying these smart contracts. In order to deploy a smart contract and run a smart contract, like on Ethereum, you've got to pay some AION as gas. And so if you don't want to be burning AION in order to test a smart contract like an NFT contract or a fungible token contract, that's what the testnet's available for. There's a faucet available for the testnet, so you're experimenting for free rather than having to put up real live AION to run a smart contract that there's a bug in.
No, the tools are there, right? And so
yeah, absolutely.
You can play around and know, like, once you have a completion, like, the code is going to be looked at 100% vetted through the WAN foundation. It's not going to be like a freebie, like, oh yeah, it's done here, or let's go live. No. It has to be vetted, right? Like anything else. But you have a toolbox. Like, you have a full set of toolbox right now that you can actually experiment with, and then use that towards your proposal. So.
And I'd really encourage folks, if you haven't already, to check out the Reddit wiki, because there is just so much information in there for huge categories of information. If you're looking to get into mining, I know there are mining guides, including videos that Savage Mine has done. He's done videos on staking on the OAN as well. So those videos are available. There are Medium articles that walk through it through text. There are official docs that are hosted on the OAN's website that there are links to. So it's just a ton of information available. So if you're looking to build open apps, check out that link because that's going to link you to tools like an IntelliJ plugin that makes writing a contract and deploying a smart contract much easier than trying to do it through a command prompt, command terminal prompt. And so it's just, if you're looking to get your feet wet, get your hands dirty with some of this tech, I can't recommend enough checking out the wiki on Reddit.
What about, so I have a point that I want to mention. Say I was one of the people that took upon the task of bidding on one of these proposals here and building it out and developing it, and this might be one of my first 5 projects that I ever worked on in my entire life. I want you guys watching in the future, not right now, but watching in the future, to go look at the amount of jobs that are becoming available for blockchain developers and various developers in the cryptocurrency space. This would be something that you can, with completion, and probably even without completion, we would prefer that you see it to the end. If you take on a task, my mom raised me like that. If you're gonna give me a job, I'm gonna do it, give it 110%. I'm gonna get it done, and I'm gonna finish it. I don't like leaving things half and the other word. I'm not gonna say it, but that's a good thing to put on your resume. And as this space continues to grow, you can grow within it. Not only continuing to educate yourself, self-learning, but also possibly like developer tutorials and guides, teaching others on how to do it, and probably make that a career path, or if not, be something along your current career path. But I could see this, helping you out in some form or fashion. Not only helping out the AION community, the open application community, but helping yourself out as far as prospects in the future if you do decide to continue down this path and looking at jobs, because I've seen a number of them open up. I'm not talking about going and applying at Coinbase. I'm talking about actual developers. I know there's a lot of developers out there working on various projects and stuff like that. This is just another opportunity that you can dabble in, and who knows, you might be so interested in that you might take on 2 bids. Who knows?
Absolutely. Yeah, and so I mean, it's the program, as I mentioned earlier, has already funded a number of things, including the poker tournaments over the last couple of quarters, and that AION Watch tool that we pulled up earlier. Prior to AION Watch, it was a little iffy as to what the total supply was, what the inflation rate was. Knowing
Turn
that
on
there
the
was
dark mode. Sorry, Joseph. Dark mode. Please, my eyes are hurting.
Let's not burn anyone's retinas.
Thank you. Sorry, go ahead, Joseph.
So, I mean, even though there were ways to find this information out, we felt like having a at-a-glance tool where folks could say, okay, I know what the total supply is, I know the total amount burned, these rates of inflation, burn rates, what the staking annual rate of return, it's all there at a glance. So this is one of the things that have been funded through the AION Community Bounty Program. And, certainly if someone has a proposal for something similar to this, you're welcome to submit that proposal through the Google form or through the Reddit thread.
So in short, there's opportunities out here, and I don't think enough people, in my personal opinion, this may not be anybody's opinion, my personal opinion, have given enough attention to certain crypto projects. And again, I like to support projects that support its community, and AION is one of those that supports the community. I think we're going to wrap it up here at 7:53 on my end, Eastern Standard Time. You mentioned, Joseph, about the AION poker tournament. Aeon, don't we have some? Excuse me, Yashnik, don't we have something coming up soon?
Yes, we do. Well, this weekend we'll go live with well, the registration opens up on Saturday, the 25th. At
And this will
3
be number
o'clock.
5, right?
Number five.
Right.
5th invitational. Nice.
Yeah, it's been an awesome time every time, and it's getting bigger every time. People are getting more involved, you know, and it's just for the community. It's not just Aeon. It's the cryptocurrency community as a whole. It's not just miners, not just stakers. It's anyone that's not only involved in cryptocurrency, that want to get involved in cryptocurrency, and it opens up that door for those people.
Really does.
You know, it it does a lot, and people don't understand that much, but you realize it when you're watching the live stream and there's interaction and all that. People get involved, and that word spreads, and so I'm very happy with what we've done in the past year and a half now, and we're going to continue that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one as well. The last one was a little back in July. Was you know, we lost a good friend, and it was a good time, but this time yeah, it's the 5th one, and we just want to get the ball rolling again, you know.
So make sure to keep up to date with everything. Make sure you follow Yashnik. His handle is right in front of you. We also have Joseph, which his handle is right here, a Totoso. And I believe me and Crypto Z, I don't know if we're friends on oh, like,
We
am
should.
I? We are. All right, we follow each other. All right, we follow each other. All right, I was about to say.
Yeah.
So, good peoples, really love the crypto family as a whole, but, you know, specifically the AION community has always been good people and good friends. So I hope that the information in the stream kind of inspired you to, you know, obviously during your free time, I know we're all busy, but obviously, you know, in life, in any project you take on, you got to try to keep up with, you know, you don't start a project and then let it sit, you know, months and months and months and months. You want to try to come up with a cohesive timeline, be like, all right, I'm gonna work on this and this and this, and try to get it done. But I hope, you know, we get some developers. If you know some developers, if you want to refer to developers, I mean, there's a lot of opportunities out there for everybody to participate, get involved, and help out. And Joseph, you got any closing words or anything specifically you would like to mention before we wrap up?
Just a quick plug also for @AION Newsfeed on Twitter. That's I manage that account, but I try to put all the AION news that's coming out, tweeting out through this account. If you're looking to see what the latest is, this is the account to follow. You can follow me too, but I primarily drive all the news and announcements to this account specifically. And likewise on Telegram, there is AION Newsfeed as a broadcast channel, which mirrors the Twitter account. So whichever your preferred way of getting news is, whether that's Twitter, Telegram, add those. And likewise, Reddit, I try to make sure that all the latest is posted there as well. So there's a lot of many ways that you can stay up to date and informed on what the latest is.
For sure. And a lot of this, and everything that comes out is also shared on Aeon Pros Discord, which in itself is also shared between other Discord channels. So,
yeah, matter of fact, I wonder, can I even link to it? Can I invite people if I drop the link in my description, or you want to shoot me a link?
For the Discord?
Yeah. So if people want to
well,
join,
it's more like there's no official Aeon Discord channel. But
no, we just have
Pool.
AION Pool. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. No problem.
Sweet. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for taking time out of your day and your evening to spend some time with me, and thank you everybody who watched us not only now but in the future. I really appreciate your patience and understanding, and I really look forward to seeing someone take on some of these proposals and move forward. Though, like he's mentioned, there's all kinds of resources available to you, ways to find what you're looking for. I mean, if you don't know, let me say something real quick, just to be a smart rear. If you don't know something, you can pretty much figure it out or do enough research to get started in a matter of minutes. If you may not have a full understanding of physics in minutes, but you can at least get started and have a good understanding. And the resources are available to everybody. And I really want to see somebody do some development on the proposals available. So check out the links in the description. Don't forget to give each one of these a follow, especially AION Newsfeed. That's actually the name, at AION Newsfeed. You can't miss it. Give a follow. Keep in touch, and I will see you guys later on this week. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And thank you for the platform.
No problem.
Yes.
Not a
Thanks,
problem.
guys.
No
Yeah,
problem.
thank you.